The bustling spaceport of Nova Prime shone under the pale light of its twin suns. Ships of every shape and size hovered above landing pads, some sleek and fast, others bulky and armored. The air hummed with engines' chatter, and the occasional burst of interstellar announcements. Among the crowd of traders, travelers, and explorers, one figure moved with quiet confidence. She wasn't particularly tall, but her presence demanded attention. Her movements were precise, almost fluid, yet carried the subtle weight of strength. Many beings in the spaceport had traveled far to reach Nova Prime, but none had seen someone quite like her. Her skin shimmered slightly in the sunlight, as if it were not only living tissue but also part of some advanced biological design. Every step she took seemed effortless, yet each step carried a controlled power. Curious eyes followed her as she weaved through the crowd, adjusting her path to avoid collisions with merchants, traders, and travelers from countless worlds. A group of alien children paused in awe, pointing and whispering to each other in excited tones. Humans were common here, but she was different, more than just human. Something in her appearance, in her stance, in the subtle glow of her body, told onlookers that she was extraordinary. As she passed a marketplace selling exotic tech and weapons, a visitor from another world, a tall, slender alien with translucent skin and 3 large eyes, paused and studied her closely. His eyes widened slightly as he observed her movement, her stance, and the faint shimmer that seemed to pulse across her body with each step. Leaning closer to the humans nearby, he asked softly, "Nice armor." The woman stopped for a moment, tilting her head slightly in amusement. A small smile curved across her face, and without hesitation she replied, "It's not armor, it's my body." The words hung in the air like a spark. The alien blinked, speechless, unsure if he had understood correctly. Around them, other species paused as well, hearing her words. A murmur spread through the crowd, a mixture of awe, confusion, and admiration. Humans walking by looked at her with renewed curiosity. Strangers glanced with surprise, and some merchants whispered to each other, "She's one of them. The ones we've only heard stories about." The human didn't wait for further questions. With a simple nod, she stepped forward, continuing her walk through the spaceport as if nothing extraordinary had just happened. Yet those who had seen her knew differently. There was a story in her eyes, a quiet confidence in her movements, and a subtle reminder that humanity, in its simplest form, had become something remarkable. She passed a small marketplace that specialized in energy weapons. A young trader, barely out of adolescence, was trying to sell a blaster to a group of aliens. He noticed her approach and felt a pang of excitement. Could this be one of the famed human adventurers who had been traveling beyond known space? He had heard tales from traders who had seen humans survive impossible dangers, meteors, plasma storms, and even hostile encounters with alien warships. Humans had always been clever, but now he wondered if they were evolving into something else entirely. The woman paused briefly near the edge of the marketplace. She glanced at a hollow display of various starships, her eyes scanning each one with quiet interest. Her expression didn't betray much, but she noticed something in the distance. A group of beings arguing loudly. One of them waved a strange device, possibly trying to communicate or intimidate others. Without thinking, she moved closer. The crowd parted instinctively, sensing her authority. It wasn't fear that made them step back, but a recognition of capability. Even the arguing being seemed to hesitate as she approached. Her gaze was calm, her posture unshakable. With a few words in her language, soft, precise, and commanding, she diffused the situation. The argument ended not with conflict, but with mutual understanding. The aliens looked at her in disbelief. Some even muttered under their breath, She didn't even touch them. How? Satisfied, she turned away and continued walking. The spaceport was larger than most cities on her homeworld, stretching across miles with layers of platforms, docking stations, and observation towers. Shuttles took off and landed constantly, each with a hum of energy that resonated through the air. People of every race hurried along pathways carrying cargo equipment or luggage. Merchants shouted their wares, travelers exchanged stories, and the occasional patrol drone hovered overhead scanning for danger. Among the crowd, whispers followed her like a current. "Did you see that?" one alien said. She stopped to fight without even raising her hands. Another added, "Her body, it's like nothing I've seen. Not even armor, but somehow stronger than armor." The murmur grew, spreading quickly. Humans were always known for their ingenuity. But what they were witnessing here was more than skill. It was evolution, pure and undeniable. As she reached the docking platform, she paused to look at the nearest starship. Its hull gleamed under the twin suns, and a light wind carried faint scents of burning fuel and ozone. She walked around the ship, running her fingers lightly over its surface, feeling the vibrations and structure. Her touch was delicate, almost reverent, but there was a strength behind it that made the metal resonate slightly. A crew member noticed her interest and asked cautiously, "Would you like to come aboard?" She smiled, a small knowing curve of her lips. "Not yet," she replied. "I like to feel the world first. Machines are useful, but they are not everything." Nearby, a group of scientists and explorers watched intently, recording her movements discreetly with small devices. They had heard rumors about humans developing advanced adaptive bodies, organisms capable of withstanding extreme environments, resisting injuries, and even repairing themselves faster than conventional medicine allowed. Yet seeing it firsthand was another matter entirely. She moved like a perfect combination of strength and grace, demonstrating balance, speed, and awareness that seemed almost superhuman. One young scientist whispered to a colleague, "If this is a human, then we've underestimated them. Badly." Her colleague nodded silently, unable to take his eyes off her. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the spaceport, she finally stopped at the edge of a viewing platform. The sky was painted in shades of orange, purple, and deep blue, with the twin suns dipping below the horizon. Ships took off into space, leaving trails of glowing exhaust. The city buzzed beneath her, full of life, technology, and ambition. She took a deep breath, feeling the wind against her body. It was a moment of calm in a world that never truly stopped. Her mind, sharp and alert, reviewed the information she had gathered today. The markets, the crowds, the technology. Every detail mattered. Every observation could be the difference between survival and failure in unknown territories. And then she noticed him again. The alien who had first spoken to her. He was still there, standing a few meters away, his eyes wide with astonishment. She turned to him and said lightly, "It's not armor, it's my body." The words seemed to carry a weight this time, a quiet assertion of human potential and capability. He remained speechless, unable to form words. Around them, others had stopped talking too. The city, the ships, the crowd, all faded for a brief moment, as if the universe itself had paused to recognize her. She didn't boast. She didn't flaunt her strength. She simply existed as she was, human, evolved, capable, and extraordinary. With a soft nod, she turned once again toward the docking area, stepping onto a lift that would take her to her ship. Her presence left a ripple across the spaceport, a subtle reminder to all who saw her that humans were no longer just survivors or travelers. They were pioneers, explorers, and something more. A species capable of shaping the galaxy in ways no one could yet imagine. And as she boarded her ship, the alien still stood there, staring after her. He realized that what he had called armor was not a shield or a suit of protection. It was something far more incredible. The resilience, adaptability, and potential of a human body itself. The crowd slowly resumed their activity, but whispers lingered. "Did you see that?" One being said, "Humans, they are different, stronger, faster, smarter." Another nodded. "We will have to watch them closely." Above the city, her ship lifted into the sky, glinting against the setting suns. The woman inside looked out at the horizon, a faint smile on her face. The galaxy was vast, full of challenges, dangers, and mysteries. And humans. Humans were ready. In that moment, as the stars began to twinkle above Nova Prime, one truth was clear. Humanity was no longer just part of the galaxy. They were becoming a force to be reckoned with. And anyone who underestimated them would soon learn the difference between armor and the human body itself. The orbiting research station, Horizon Alpha, glimmered like a crystal in the endless dark of space. It hung above Nova Prime, tethered by invisible strings of technology that kept it perfectly balanced. Within its walls, scientists and explorers from multiple worlds observed the universe and each other with equal intensity. Yet today their attention was focused on something far more extraordinary than any celestial phenomenon. The human who had walked through the bustling spaceport had arrived aboard her ship, docking smoothly with the station's primary bay. Her steps were calm, precise, and somehow commanding, drawing the attention of every observer nearby. She was led to the central observation hall, where specialists from different planets had gathered. The room buzzed with excitement and speculation, but there was a tangible tension as well. Humans had always been resourceful, adaptable, and clever, but what this human represented went beyond even their highest expectations. The lead scientist, a tall being with shimmering scales named Virel, addressed the gathered team. "We have witnessed something extraordinary. The subject's body exhibits abilities far beyond conventional biology. We must study it carefully yet respectfully. Remember, this is a living being, not a laboratory specimen." The human nodded slightly, her expression calm and measured. "I am aware," she said, her voice steady, carrying a quiet authority that made even seasoned scientists pause. "I am not here to perform for you, but if you observe, you may learn more than any theory or simulation could teach you." Virel stepped closer, his eyes wide with curiosity. "Your body, it's unlike anything we have studied. Energy absorption, enhanced reflexes, rapid cellular repair, these are beyond the capabilities of synthetic armor. Is this natural?" She smiled faintly. "It is natural, yes. Over generations, humans have adapted. Our bodies can endure more than they appear capable of. We survive in extremes: hot, cold, high pressure, low pressure, radiation impact. What you call armor is simply a side effect of evolution." The team gasped softly. Some scribbled notes frantically. Others adjusted holo displays to record the nuances of her movements. One young biologist whispered to a colleague, "If humans have been evolving like this, then everything we know about biological limits is wrong." To demonstrate, she moved to the center of the observation floor. The floor beneath her was reinforced, but she didn't hesitate. With a simple leap, she jumped to a platform several meters above, landing softly as if gravity had little effect on her body. She twirled mid-air, absorbing energy from a simulated plasma strike that scientists fired at her. The plasma fizzled harmlessly on contact, leaving her unscathed. Virel's three eyes widened. She is absorbing energy directly into her body. This isn't impossible." Another scientist, Ketra, a slender humanoid with 4 arms, stepped forward. "This is not impossible," she said, her voice trembling slightly. "It is evolution, adaptation on a scale we have never observed. If her entire species possesses even a fraction of these abilities—" She paused, unable to finish the thought. The room was silent, the implications heavy. The human continued her demonstration. She moved through obstacle courses designed to test agility and strength. Walls shifted in unexpected patterns. Floors dropped suddenly and energy fields pulsed at random intervals. She reacted instantly, weaving through the challenges with speed, precision, and intelligence. Each movement was purposeful. Each action demonstrated not just strength but understanding. "It's not just her body," Virel murmured almost to himself. "It's her mind. She sees patterns, predicts outcomes, adapts instantly." After the trial, she stood in the center of the hall, breathing normally, as if nothing unusual had occurred. Scientists gathered closer, their notes and devices buzzing with data. "Your resilience, your reflexes, your strength, it exceeds any known human benchmark," Virel said carefully. "And yet you make it look effortless. How is this possible?" She considered the question for a moment. "Humans survive because we adapt, not because we rely solely on machines, but because we learn, we endure, and we evolve. Our bodies are just part of the process. Our minds, our decisions, they matter as much as our strength." A ripple of murmurs moved through the room. This wasn't just biology. It was philosophy. The human approach to survival, combined with innate evolution, made her, and potentially all humans, a species that could change the course of any encounter. Meanwhile, reports from the spaceport reached Horizon Alpha. The crowd there had not forgotten her. Traders, explorers, and ordinary citizens shared stories of what they had seen. "She walked through crowds like she owned the place," one alien merchant said. "And then she stopped a fight without raising her hands. Humans, they are strange, but perhaps superior." The human herself was aware of the whispers, though she didn't react to them. She focused instead on the displays around her, watching simulations of hostile planets, rogue asteroids, and energy storms. For her, this station was more than a lab. It was a place to understand the galaxy better, to learn how to survive, and to prepare for challenges no one else could imagine. Later, she met with a small team of researchers in a private chamber. Virel, Ketra, and a human scientist named Mara gathered around a holographic table displaying various environments, vacuum simulations, high radiation zones, and magnetic storms. Your body can endure all of these conditions? Mara asked, leaning forward. Yes, the human replied. But endurance is not enough. Adaptation requires awareness. Knowing what to do, when to do it, and how to survive, these are as important as the physical changes themselves. Virel hesitated. And your species as a whole, can you teach others to reach this level? Or is this rare? The human looked down at her hands, flexing them slowly. Evolution works over generations. Not every human may reach this level, but the potential exists. Humanity has survived countless disasters, wars, and hostile worlds. Each challenge forced us to improve. This is just one step further. Ketra's forehands tapped rapidly on the holotable. If this is true, if humans can adapt like this, then every interstellar species must reconsider their assumptions. Your species is not just clever, you are formidable. The human inclined her head slightly, acknowledging the statement. Formidable, yes, but we are not invincible. We rely on our choices, our strategy, and our willingness to face the unknown. The body is important, but the mind is what guides it. As the day passed, the team conducted further experiments, always safe, always controlled. She moved through simulations of asteroid impacts, extreme temperatures, and high gravity zones. Each test revealed more about her abilities. She could slow her heart rate to survive sudden pressure drops, regulate her body temperature against extremes, and even absorb minor electrical discharges to power her own movements. Outside the station, alien vessels observed the activity from orbit, sending discrete signals back to their home systems. Reports varied from fascination to concern. Humans were clever, yes, but now they appeared to be something else entirely. Not just survivors, but innovators, adapters, and perhaps a species that could rival the most advanced civilizations in the galaxy. By evening, the observation hall was quiet. Scientists reviewed their recordings, their data pads overflowing with information. Virel finally spoke, his voice low but filled with awe. We thought humans relied on technology. We thought your species needed tools to survive, but we were wrong. Your body itself, your biology, is a weapon, a shield, and a tool all in one, and yet it is natural, amazing. The human smiled faintly. Nature is always capable of more than you imagine. Machines can break, shields can fail, weapons can run out of power, but a body that can endure, adapt, and respond will survive. That is why humans can explore worlds others cannot, and why we can face dangers others flee from. Mara leaned closer. So, your species has always been capable of this? Or is this a new development? It is a continuation, the human said. Humanity has always survived. From primitive worlds to interstellar travel, from disease to cosmic radiation, we have endured. Our bodies evolved, our minds adapted, and now we are ready for what comes next. Virel's three eyes shone with a mixture of awe and concern. Then the galaxy must prepare for humans. Not just for your technology, but for what your species is capable of naturally. This changes everything. The human did not respond. She didn't need to. Her presence, her calm confidence, and the quiet power in her movements said everything. Humanity was no longer just a participant in the galaxy's story. They were becoming a force that demanded recognition, respect, and careful consideration. As Horizon Alpha orbited silently above Nova Prime, the stars outside twinkled like distant witnesses. The human looked out at the expanse, a small smile playing across her face. The galaxy was vast, dangerous, and full of unknown challenges. And humans were ready. In that moment, the scientists, explorers, and observers understood something profound. It was not machines, weapons, or armies that defined a species. It was resilience, adaptability, courage, and intelligence combined. And humans, through evolution and determination, embodied all of these in ways no one else could. The whispers of admiration, the awe of observation, and the quiet hum of technology filled the station. Outside, the galaxy continued its ceaseless rhythm. Inside, one human stood as a living testament to what the species could achieve. News of the human's abilities spread across the galaxy like wildfire. Reports from Nova Prime and Horizon Alpha reached far corners of the known systems. Aliens, humans, and hybrids alike were astonished. Whispers turned into discussions, and discussions turned into challenges. A coalition of alien species, representatives from 3 major star systems, decided to issue a formal invitation. They wanted to test the limits of humanity, to see if the rumors were true. The trials would be difficult, designed to push physical and mental abilities to their maximum, and at the center of it all would be the human who had stunned the spaceport and the researchers alike. The human received the message aboard. Her ship while orbiting Nova Prime, she read the holographic text carefully. It was not a threat, but it was a challenge, one she could not ignore. Humanity had always tested itself against the unknown. This was no different. She prepared quietly, running through simulations in her mind and reviewing the challenges ahead. Unlike other species, she did not rely on equipment or technology to enhance her performance. Her body was her tool, her mind her guide. Every movement, every decision, and every action depended on herself alone. The day of the trials arrived at the Galactic Arena, a massive structure floating in space above a neutral planet. The arena was vast, with multiple zones designed for speed, strength, strategy, and endurance. Spectators from dozens of species filled viewing platforms, each eager to witness the test of the legendary human. As she entered the arena, whispers spread among the crowd. There she is, the one they called armor. It's not armor, it's her body. The words echoed from Nova Prime's spaceport, but now this human would face challenges far beyond a simple observation. She would have to prove her abilities in action. The first trial tested agility. Platforms moved unpredictably. Energy barriers pulsed at random intervals and simulated attacks came from all directions. Other competitors relied on advanced tech, hoverboards, exosuits, and energy shields. She relied on nothing but herself. The trial began. She leapt effortlessly between platforms, twisting midair to avoid energy pulses. Her reflexes were faster than the blinking lights, and her body absorbed impacts that would have broken bones in any other being. When a mechanical arm swung suddenly toward her, she caught it with her bare hands, redirecting its momentum to clear her path. The crowd gasped. Observers whispered among themselves, "No technology, and yet she moves faster than our fastest drones. She anticipates every movement." Even the alien judges were astonished. Some had expected advanced equipment to dominate the course, but here was proof that natural human evolution could surpass even the most sophisticated machines. The second trial tested strength and endurance. Contestants had to lift, carry, and maneuver massive weights across a shifting landscape while resisting intense environmental conditions, heat, cold, and high-pressure zones. Others struggled, relying on powered suits to bear the strain. The human, however, adapted. Her muscles flexed and shifted naturally, distributing energy efficiently. She lifted massive boulders and moved them to create paths, carried injured participants to safety, and even redirected a simulated lava flow using only her body and strategic thinking. Every action displayed not just power but intelligence. Her body was strong, but her mind was stronger. The third trial tested intelligence and strategy. A complex puzzle was projected across the arena, with moving components and unpredictable obstacles. Competitors had to solve it while avoiding energy hazards. Most relied on computers or predictive algorithms. She relied on observation, instinct, and reasoning. She studied the patterns, noticing subtle inconsistencies and predicting movements before they happened. With quick decisions, she manipulated the puzzle components, creating paths not only for herself, but also for other competitors who had struggled. The crowd was amazed. Humans, they realized, did not just survive. They solved problems that others couldn't even attempt. The final trial combined all previous elements, agility, strength, and strategy, with a twist. A massive holographic creature designed to simulate a galaxy-level predator entered the arena. Its movements were fast, unpredictable, and dangerous. Competitors had to evade it while completing objectives scattered throughout the zone. Many beings panicked, relying on tech to shield themselves. The human assessed the situation, taking a calm breath before moving. She leapt, rolled, and sprinted through obstacles, dodging energy blasts and calculating trajectories in real time. Her body absorbed impacts, her mind predicted movements, and her instincts guided her through impossible paths. The holographic predator lunged at her. Others would have been incapacitated. She caught its strike mid-air, redirecting the energy with a precise twist of her body. Then she used her momentum to clear a path, completing all objectives faster than anyone else could. The crowd erupted in astonishment. The alien judges convened. They had seen warriors, inventors, and tacticians, but never anything like this. Virel, observing from a neutral platform, whispered, "This is not just physical capability. This is a combination of instinct, intelligence, and evolution. Humanity is remarkable." Even competitors approached her cautiously, some with respect, some with envy. A leader of a nearby species spoke quietly. "We relied on machines. We thought we were strong, but she is stronger, faster, smarter, naturally." The human standing in the center of the arena looked around at the crowd. She did not boast, did not raise her arms in triumph. She simply stood calm and composed. Her body was a marvel, yes, but her purpose was clear: to demonstrate that survival, ingenuity, and adaptation mattered more than any weapon or armor. A young alien competitor approached her, curiosity in his eyes. How are you doing this without tech?" he asked. She smiled faintly. "This is my body. I have learned to trust it, to understand it, and to use it. Machines help, but they can fail. Your mind and body together, that is stronger than any machine." The alien looked at her, speechless. Others nodded quietly. The truth was undeniable. Humans, with their adaptability and intelligence, were becoming a species that could rival anyone in the galaxy. After the trials, the human was recognized by the Coalition. They awarded her not as a competitor, but as a representative of humanity's potential. Her body had shown resilience, strength, and precision. Her mind had demonstrated strategy, intelligence, and compassion. Humanity was no longer just observers in the galaxy. They were participants, innovators, and perhaps a species that could inspire or challenge civilizations alike. Back aboard her ship later, she reflected on the trials. They had tested her limits, yes, but more importantly, they had demonstrated a principle humanity had always known. Survival depended on adaptability. Courage and intelligence, not just strength or technology. Across the galaxy, reports of the trials spread rapidly. Traders, scientists, and explorers shared the story. "The human," one message read, "does not wear armor. Their body is a marvel and their mind unmatched." Even governments took note, reconsidering their assumptions about the humans they had once underestimated. The human knew the attention was only the beginning. The galaxy was vast, full of challenges and dangers that no single species could predict. But humanity had a secret advantage: the ability to adapt, learn, and evolve in ways that others could not. Her body was powerful, yes, but her species' true strength lay in their potential, their resilience, and their ability to think beyond conventional limits. As her ship lifted off from the arena, heading back to Horizon Alpha, she looked at the stars stretching infinitely ahead. There were worlds to explore, dangers to face, and mysteries to unravel. And humans, she knew, were ready for them all. The galaxy had witnessed the trials. It had seen what humans could achieve without machines, without enhancements, without armor. And for the first time, many beings understood that the future would be shaped not by weapons alone, but by the species that could adapt, endure, and think. Humans were ready, and the universe had taken notice. The peace of the galactic arena was shattered without warning. Sensors screamed alarms as a massive space creature appeared at the edge of the arena, its size dwarfing even the largest of the artificial structures. Its shimmering scales reflected the light of distant stars, and its eyes burned like twin suns. The crowd froze in terror, realizing that this was no trial. It was a real threat. The alien coalition responsible for organizing the trials scrambled frantically. Their technology, advanced as it was, faltered against the creature's energy fields. Shields sparked and systems overloaded. Even the most experienced pilots and warriors struggled to maintain control. Panic spread through the viewing platforms as spectators were evacuated. The human, standing calmly in the center of the arena, observed the creature. Unlike others, she did not panic. She felt the surge of energy around her, the shifting gravity and the unpredictable movements of the massive predator. Her mind raced, calculating options. Her body moved instinctively, responding to the environment, adapting to every subtle change in pressure, energy, and motion. A loudspeaker crackled, voices shouting orders, but the human already had a plan. She sprinted across the arena floor, leaping over obstacles and evading the creature's attacks. Energy blasts from the creature impacted the floor around her, leaving scorch marks, but her body absorbed the shocks. Her movements fluid and precise. Nearby, alien competitors hesitated, unsure whether to fight or flee. One of them, a four-armed warrior from the Selnar system, called out, "We cannot stop it. Our weapons fail." She turned briefly and shouted, "Follow my lead. Use the environment, not your tech. Work together." Her voice was calm but carried authority. In that moment, beings who had once competed against her now looked to her for guidance. The human's body became a shield and a tool. She jumped, dodged, and redirected energy blasts using precise movements. She lifted debris to block the creature's path, creating safe corridors for fleeing participants. She caught a falling platform with her bare hands, pushing it into place to protect others. Every action demonstrated not only strength but strategy and foresight. Virel, watching from a secure observation deck, whispered, "No one else could do this. She is saving lives with nothing but her body and her mind." The creature's attacks grew more aggressive, sensing its prey. It released energy pulses that caused entire sections of the arena to tremble. Many competitors panicked, relying on their malfunctioning tech, but the human adapted. She used her momentum to redirect blasts, absorbed impacts that would have shattered bones, and ran across vertical walls to reach higher platforms. Her movements were almost inhuman, yet completely natural. The alien coalition quickly realized that their only chance of survival was to trust her guidance. Following her commands, the competitors used simple strategies: moving together, blocking energy pulses with debris, and finding safe paths. The human coordinated their movements seamlessly, predicting the creature's attacks and adjusting their positions. At one point, the creature lunged toward a section where dozens of beings were trapped. Without hesitation, the human sprinted forward. She caught an energy blast mid-air, absorbing it, and used her momentum to knock aside a falling structure that threatened the trapped group. With fluid agility, she pulled several beings to safety, all while evading the creature's grasp. The crowd watching remotely could hardly believe what they were seeing. Her body, it's not just strong. It's like a natural weapon and shield combined, one alien commentator whispered. She didn't pause to think about praise. Each second mattered. The creature advanced toward the arena's control hub, where essential systems for containment and evacuation were located. If it reached them, the station could collapse, endangering thousands. The human sprinted toward the hub, leaping over energy barriers, her movements faster than even the alien tech could register. When she reached the hub, she assessed the situation. A massive energy pulse from the creature was about to destroy the main control console. Using her body, she absorbed part of the impact, her muscles and bones flexing to distribute the energy. Sparks flew, systems overloaded, but she stabilized the hub long enough for the alien engineers to reroute power and restore functionality. The creature roared, its energy pulses intensifying. Others tried to attack it with conventional weapons, but nothing worked. The human, however, noticed a pattern. The creature's movements, though fast, followed natural arcs. She studied the timing, predicting the next strike. Then, using a combination of agility and force, she redirected its momentum. The creature stumbled, its attack faltering, and the participants seized the moment to push it back using debris, controlled energy blasts, and careful coordination. The human continued to lead, using her body as a reference point for everyone else. She ran across shifting platforms, timed her jumps perfectly, and coordinated the competitors' movements, turning chaos into organized defense. Her body absorbed impacts that would have crushed anyone else, while her mind orchestrated survival strategies for hundreds. Minutes felt like hours, but slowly, the creature weakened. Its energy fields flickered as the coordinated efforts of the participants, guided by the human, began to overpower it. Finally, with a precise leap and calculated push, she redirected the creature into a containment field that the alien engineers had restored. The massive predator roared one last time before being trapped safely, unable to harm anyone further. The arena fell silent. Dust and debris floated in the low-gravity environment, sparks flickered from damaged panels, and distant alarms signaled minor system failures. The human stood in the center, breathing steadily, not a scratch on her. Around her, alien competitors and spectators looked on in stunned awe. Virel, still watching from the observation deck, whispered, She did what no weapon, no technology, no army could do. She saved them all, with her body and her mind alone." Some competitors approached her cautiously, offering nods of respect. One Selnar warrior, usually proud and unyielding, bowed slightly. I have seen many fighters, many strategists, many machines. None of them could do what you just did. The human inclined her head slightly. You all survived because you trusted each other and adapted. Machines failed, but cooperation, awareness, and courage succeed. Remember that. As the crowd slowly returned to normal, the alien judges convened. They had intended the trials to test limits, but the real test had arrived unexpectedly, and the human had exceeded even their highest expectations. Her abilities were remarkable, yes, but her leadership, composure, and adaptability were what truly set her apart. News of the crisis spread across the galaxy faster than the trials themselves. Beings who had underestimated humans now reconsidered their assumptions. Technology alone was not enough. A species that could adapt, think, and endure could overcome challenges that seemed impossible. Back on Horizon Alpha, the human reviewed the events with Virel, Mara, and other observers. It was not just my body that mattered, she said quietly. It was observation, anticipation, and quick thinking. Bodies can absorb, resist, and endure, but minds must guide them. That is the difference, Mara nodded. You've proven that humans are more than strong. You've shown that your species can lead, inspire, and protect others, without any reliance on machines. That tier is extraordinary, Virel added. We have underestimated your species, not just your physical evolution, but your ability to think under pressure, to inspire cooperation, and to survive situations that would destroy others. You've changed the way we view humanity, and perhaps the galaxy itself. The human gave a small, knowing smile. She did not seek praise, but she accepted the acknowledgement with quiet dignity. Humanity's potential was not measured in technology or weapons. It was measured in resilience, intelligence, and courage. And in that moment, every species watching understood that humans were ready to face whatever the galaxy could throw at them. As she left the arena, stepping into her ship, the stars outside sparkled like distant witnesses to the extraordinary events. The galaxy was vast, dangerous, and unpredictable, but humans had a secret advantage: their ability to adapt, endure, and act with intelligence and courage when everything else seemed impossible. And for the first time, many in the galaxy realized something profound. Humans were not just participants in galactic events. They were a species capable of shaping the outcomes of those events, not with weapons but with determination, adaptability, and the full potential of their evolved bodies and minds. As her ship ascended toward Horizon Alpha, the human looked out at the endless expanse. She did not know what challenges awaited next, but she was ready. Humanity was ready, and the galaxy, whether it realized it or not, had just witnessed the beginning of a new chapter. The aftermath of the galactic arena crisis echoed throughout the galaxy. Beings of countless worlds shared stories of what had happened, each account filled with astonishment and admiration. The human who had saved hundreds, not with weapons but with her body, mind, and courage, had become the center of attention. Her actions were recorded, studied, and discussed across every major star system. Back on Horizon Alpha, the human arrived quietly, her presence calm and deliberate. Scientists, explorers, and diplomats gathered to welcome her. There was no fanfare, no pomp, only a sense of reverence and respect. Virel, the three-eyed observer, stepped forward. You have shown us something that cannot be measured by technology, data, or predictions, he said. You have demonstrated the true potential of humanity. The human smiled faintly. I did what any human would do in the same situation. We survive. We adapt. We think. That is how we endure. Mara, the human scientist who had observed her from the beginning, shook her head in disbelief. No, you've shown more than survival. You've shown leadership, courage, and ingenuity that surpasses anything we've ever recorded. This is humanity at its best. Outside the station, messages from across the galaxy arrived. Leaders of alien civilizations, once skeptical of humanity, now extended formal recognition and respect. Envoys requested meetings to understand how humans had evolved, how they survived, and how they could cooperate with such a capable species. Among the envoys was the Selnar warrior who had bowed in the arena. He approached quietly, speaking in a tone of respect. We underestimated your species. We relied on machines, on weapons, and on strategy, thinking that we could control every outcome. You have proven that humans are extraordinary. The human inclined her head, acknowledging his words. Strength and skill matter, but so does understanding, adaptation, and cooperation. You survived the trial because you chose to work together. That is the key. Word of her actions spread beyond formal messages. Traders, pilots, and explorers shared stories in marketplaces, spaceports, and starship lounges. The human doesn't wear armor, one alien whispered to another. Her body? It's natural, and yet she's stronger than anything we have seen. Even children were inspired. Young beings from various species drew pictures of her, imagining the feats she had performed. Teachers used her story as an example of courage, problem-solving, and resilience. Humanity's presence in the galaxy had shifted, not through conquest but through example, through a demonstration of capability and intelligence. In the central observation hall of Horizon Alpha, the human met with the coalition of species who had issued the original trials. They wanted answers. How had humans evolved to such a state? How could they perform feats that even advanced technology struggled to replicate? She spoke clearly, her tone calm and steady. Humans are adaptable. We survive by understanding our environment, by learning from challenges, and by trusting our bodies and minds to work together. Evolution has given us tools, strength, reflexes, endurance, but it is choice, observation, and intelligence that allow us to use them fully. Virel, still amazed, asked, "And this is natural?" "Not engineered. Natural," she replied. "We have evolved to survive, to explore, and to endure. Our technology can extend our reach, but it is not what makes us extraordinary. That comes from within." The coalition was quiet, considering her words. They had always measured power in technology, weapons, and numbers. Yet here was proof that a species could surpass all expectations through resilience, intelligence, and adaptability alone. Later, the human addressed a larger assembly, broadcast across the galaxy. She spoke not as a warrior, not as a hero, but as a representative of humanity's potential. "We are not invincible," she said. "We can fail. We can make mistakes. But we adapt. We survive, we learn. That is what allows humanity to endure, to explore, and to thrive in worlds where others might not survive. We do not rely solely on machines. We rely on our choices, our courage, and our unity." The broadcast sparked conversations across star systems. Scientists discussed human biology and evolution. Philosophers debated human ethics and strategy, and ordinary beings looked at humans with a mix of admiration and curiosity. Humanity was no longer just another species in the galaxy. They were a standard by which others measured courage, intelligence, and adaptability. The human herself remained humble. She walked through the station quietly, observing others. She noted the engineers repairing systems damaged during the crisis, the young cadets learning about strategy, and the scholars recording every detail of her abilities. Each action reinforced her belief that survival and progress came not from power alone, but from learning, observing, and understanding. Later that evening, she stood on the observation deck, looking out at the expanse of space. Stars stretched infinitely, scattered across the darkness like diamonds on black velvet. Ships moved between planets. Explorers carried out missions, and civilizations continued to expand and adapt. Humanity was now part of this rhythm, not as a follower but as a species capable of shaping outcomes. A young alien approached her, hesitantly. "You saved so many today. How do you stay calm in the face of danger?" She looked at him with quiet patience. "Calm comes from trust in yourself, in your abilities, and in your choices. Fear is natural, but it does not control us unless we allow it. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to act despite it." The young alien nodded, absorbing her words. Others nearby listened quietly, realizing that her lessons extended beyond physical feats. They were about life, survival, and the nature of intelligent beings. In the following days, human representatives traveled across systems, meeting leaders, sharing knowledge, and establishing cooperative missions. Humanity's reputation had transformed. No longer underestimated, humans were respected for their abilities, ingenuity, and resilience. Back on Horizon Alpha, the human met with Mara and Virel one last time before departing. "The galaxy has changed," Mara said. "Not because of technology, but because of your species. They see now that humans are capable of more than they imagined." The human nodded. "That is only the beginning. There are worlds yet to explore, dangers yet to face, and mysteries yet to uncover. Humans will continue to survive, adapt, and thrive. That is what we do best, Varel's eyes shimmered. You have set a new standard, not just for your species, but for all of us. With that, the human boarded her ship, the crowd watching as she ascended toward the stars. She did not need to prove herself again. Her actions, her calm authority, and her resilience had spoken louder than words or displays of power. Humanity had earned recognition, not through conquest or intimidation, but through courage, intelligence, and adaptation. As the ship left orbit, the stars reflected on her calm expression. The galaxy was vast, full of unknowns and dangers, but humanity had shown it could rise to the occasion. Humans were not merely survivors, they were leaders, innovators, and examples of what a species could achieve when body, mind, and spirit worked together. In distant systems, stories of the human in the arena inspired young beings of all species. They drew courage from her example, striving to be better, to adapt, and to think more clearly. Across starships, colonies, and academies, the message was the same. A species that combines intelligence, resilience, and adaptability can achieve greatness far beyond what tools or weapons alone can provide. The human looked out at the galaxy and allowed herself a small, satisfied smile. The journey was far from over, but humanity had proven a simple truth. Strength comes not only from machines or weapons, but from the body, mind, and courage of those who are willing to face the unknown. And somewhere across countless worlds, beings whispered in awe. "Nice armor," she had been called. "It's not armor," she had replied. "It's my body." And in that moment, the galaxy understood.